too quick. But hello, welcome to my channel. If you guys do not know me, I am your host. We are going to be talking about why Jupiter, Iratus, well, I think it's like Jupiter, well, I call it Jupiter, Iratus, and Levethan, but we're going to be talking about why they suck. Now, it's probably going to be a short video, but, I mean, shorter than supposedly most of that, at least the rest, nonetheless. But we're going to be talking about why they suck. So, of course, if you guys don't really know about STO, it's a MMORPG, and of course it's a free-to-play game, but at the same time it's kind of pay-to-win, but it's not, because we have events going on all year long that gives you tons of prizes, tons of ships. In this current state of the game, you pretty much would get a T6 ship in about a year. Like by the end of 2023, you should at least own about 3 to 5 tier 6 ships out of all of this. So nonetheless, like, they have sales going on, all this free stuff going on. If you have dilithium, you can pretty much sell, and you have a chance to get a prize of a tier 6 prize ship. So it's not really a cash cow, nonetheless. But if you want to pay money on more powerful ships and consoles, you can do just that if you're really into the game. If you're not, then, I mean, there's some other ways to get some free stuff, get some free ships, and get some free items from the stores all year long. So, in the end, at the end of the day, there won't be any excuse why you pretty much don't have at least one T6 ship. But we're not going to get too far away from the topic here. We're going to be talking about why Jupiter, Iratus, and Levethan suck, and I don't really like those TFOs at all. So many of you guys, well, at least most people who play or watch Star Trek or even look at a Star Trek online gameplay, they probably already know what Levethan and the Iratus TFO already is. Jupiter, Iratus is objectives is simple. You pretty much one of you guys needs to guard the station from data thieves attacking, or at least from stealing Jupiter Station's data, and the others will protect the will close the portals, and at the same time at least prevent the Terrans from taking over the projectors. So it's pretty plain and simple as that. And you need to close 15 portals before you reach the final boss, which is Tilly and her Terran ships. And I believe once you defeat her, she'll be jumping around and stuff. But I mean, if you defeat her before you reach, before she reaches the third station, that's pretty good and dandy. If you want to get it over quick, if you gotta go to work or whatever, that you pretty much get it done quick as that. But of course, and Levethan as well, you pretty much make a breach run. It's kind of like you make a Star Wars trench run, but of course there are 3 lanes. I really recommend the middle lane because it's the fastest, and also it's what you do in the story anyways. So, but you gotta do it in a more intense way. I mean, it's double of what it is to be in the main story, in the Terran Gambit, or what me and Assam would call it, the Terran War. So in that case, you pretty much have to go through the engines, you gotta go through the launcher system, and you gotta take out the shield generators, which is all easy if you were to do it by yourself. But I mean, imagine having to do that 2 more times. That'd be pretty annoying, right? But anywho, back to what we are on. Yes, those are the main objectives of those 2 TFOs, which is pretty simple if you kind of read the instructions, and if it's labeled right in front of you, as all the targets are in red. But of course, not many people know that, and not many people really understand, and most people would even give that excuse saying they're new to the game. Excuse, because you can read instructions. Can you? You can read instructions, and it pretty much frustrates me to an extent where I mean, sure, I mean, I already have anger issues. I mean, I'm really confirmed that I have anger issues. Like, there's no, like, I don't even hide the fact that I do have anger issues. Like, it's just there. But there are certain people and there's certain ways to get me mad. And, you know, this TFO is one of them. It's one of those TFOs that pretty much makes me very, very, very angry. And people don't really understand the TFO a lot, and I believe it's been at least almost 2 years since Jupiter Iterus has been released, so people should already be familiar with what to do, the objectives, and most likely I'm in sentry mode, so I'm pretty much immobilized, so I just go ahead and I just sit there and I deploy sentry mode and I just make breakfast, while everybody else pretty much just flies around and wonders, what the hell should I do in the meantime? What should I do? And most people, they don't even see. I mean, they kind of, I guess, in their mind, or at least in their little old vision, trouble, and I am on the fin, and my health is at least at 9%, and they're like, oh, let me go help this guy. I don't get it. I don't really, which is pretty dumb in a sense of a way. But in Levethan, it gets worse. It does. It really does. And I mean, I watched the stream. I watch other people's streams, streaming the playthrough on PC when it comes to Levethan, and these people look so clueless on where to go. Like it's kind of simple if you just fly, you know, straight line. I mean by using the offensive configuration, which gives you 20% turn rate and 20% flight speed. So no excuse for you. I mean, even I fly a big mammoth ship like this, and I still finish first. And yeah, I was by myself at the time. So it makes me very, very, very angry that I have to pretty much have to go back and I have to do the same thing twice. And it just feels like I am doing this solo, because at this point, really, really, really frustrating. And I mean, it kind of gets worse. So I believe with the if you guys, I don't even know if you guys are familiar with this TFO yet. So if you guys are familiar with Days of Doom, Days of Doom is a time travel event. Well, it's a kind of a time travel. I'm kind of glad that I get to do Days of Doom more often. At the same time, I'm not. So, of course, an undocumented attack on the 21st century Federation outpost has been detected. So we gotta protect the starbase, and you know it's an undocumented report. So it's like saying, oh, okay, so this is not supposed to happen. Let's try to fix that. And you know, it's the Romulans, Orions, Klingons, pretty much like all the enemies of the KDF side, which involves like Orions, Klingons, Romulans. Well, the Romulans are something. You know, they're kind of bad guys anyway. Romulans, Orion, those other people, and the Gorn as well. So basically, it's typical Nakul stuff, fiddling with people in the past, and you know, saying, "Oh, if I give you this, you can destroy the Federation with this." Right? That sounds nice. So pretty much, while one team takes care of the bombs, at least one or two people takes care of the starbase. And you know, I have a universe class ship as big as as big and as wide as it is. It can hold its own when it comes to like threats like that. So I mean, they can throw whatever they have at me, it won't put a scratch on it. And also the fact that I have sentry mode right there, it does a decent amount of anti-proton damage, and at the same time it keeps my I have sentry mode, and I have, you know, superior area denial. I have my my Toju fighters. As you guys can see, I kind of changed the fighters a little bit, because I mean, I did, and turns out Toju fighters do more DPS than Alliance fighter squadrons, but Alliance fighter squadrons also can do more DPS because of its focus assault. But you know, I'm looking for more DPS, so Toju fighters for the win, and they're normal. Can you believe that? They're normal. But before you even say call me out, have micro pulse cannons in their disruptor. So anything with a pulse cannon on a fighter or on a hangar pad is literally top-notch Super Saiyan crazy crack, if that's a good way to put that. Like literal crack. And yeah, that's the way to go. I mean, and if in whatchamacallit, I mean, they're kind of useless without superior air denial, but with it, there's nothing stopping them. They mowed through anything. Like, I believe I tested it in a I think it was called like like a patrol, like Brothers or something. So I mean, I used to die on this TFO all the time. Like, I test my damage output, I test, and nothing could. I could barely hold my own with the Vodwar. So, of course, I brought this. I mean, I came across it, and I was like, oh, okay. So we're gonna go and try this. I mean, I was basically just hanging around, and I don't normally hang around in Delta Quadrant much, despite the Vodwar being a major pain and the thorn in the backside. I mean, they get their butt kicked every time. You know, plot armor stuff. But, anyways, long story short, I pretty much annihilated that fleet. And every time they keep warping in, they get annihilated. Which is pretty damn cool. And it's kind of what, and it's pretty much revenge for what, yeah, that's what they get. But, anyways, back to the main thing. But I believe when it comes to Levethan, it is the fact that people, like, it's either they're too dumb to live, or they have so low DPS and so much bad gear that at this point I look at them like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, it's not even funny, because their shields are good, their hull is good, but their weaponry shit. It's like top-notch garbage. Like, it's barely making a dent in their shields, and they're barely making a dent in theirs. And it just makes me even question, like, what? And, you know, it gets worse. It really does. Like, on an apocalyptic scale, it gets worse. So, I mean, I believe I was playing with Jason, like my good friend Jason. I mean, we're kind of mid now, a bit far from friends because of that little squash we got. But I mean, that's what led it in the first place, the Levethan TFO. If it wasn't for that, then, I mean, I would still be, you know, top-notch friends with him. But now I'm like, I'm not sure about him, and he's not sure about me, because, you know, I'm more of a speed runner. I'm more of a person who could actually speed run something, and no matter what the hell I'm being thrown at, which is like everything, to the point where my shit goes, where my shit at least goes below 90%, which is not good for me. So yeah, I'm more of a speed runner, and this is pretty much easy to speed run. Like, you can literally look on anything else, and you can literally speedrun it if you listen and follow the directions. And not to mention, on top of that, if you play the episode, you already know what to do. It is not that hard. It is not that serious. Trust me. And I mean, the reason why we had that squash is because, you know, like he said, like, yo, if you're not helping, then get out. And I just told him, like, dude, everybody here is an idiot. That includes him, because, you know, he should have at least went down with me, because, you know, they're all idiots. Let them figure it out. And he's like, not everybody's smart. Like, not everybody's fast like you, or not everybody at least understands. And that kind of tipped me off, because if you play the episode, how do you not understand this? You literally fought a god, and you're playing a simulated version of fighting a god. It's just, in the end, it's just 3 compilers. It's just 3 compiler dreadnoughts. That's stupid. Like, in my case, that is the most stupidest thing, I mean, I could ever even hear. I mean, I don't even care if you're new or not. It's simple as it is. If you read and follow the instructions, you'll be able to know what you're doing. And not many people don't, and in my case, I guess, not many people know what they're doing, because, I just feel like it's like, okay, I guess Star Trek Online community is made up of 98% Discord. I mean, not even Discord, because you know, in this, in our generation, well, which is my generation, which is at the same time, it's kind of shit right now. Um, we have Discord. We have anime. We have furries. We have this. We have that. And I mean, furries weren't even mentioned until like 2000 and what, 15, I believe. Furries weren't even mentioned. I mean, uh, I have no problem with furries. I have no problem with gay people. I have no problem with straight people. I have no problem with nothing. Because you know what? In the end of the day, it's not really my problem, and I don't care. I respect you, but I don't care what you're. I don't really care. I mean, if you want to be called a she/her, I can call you she/her. If you want to be called he/him, if you want, I can call you he/him. But at the end of the day, I don't care. And that's what mostly Star Trek community is made of. It's mostly made of gays and lesbians and whatever, whatnot. But at the same time, I don't care. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. I mean, what are they doing that's so harmful to me? Like, what are they doing that's so harmful? And I mean, and most people are trans too, which in my case, I'm like, unless they're coming to my house, breaking down my door, and threatening to kill me, I should not be afraid. Or not even that, I should not even be worried. Or should not even care. Because they're not breaking down my whole door, and they're not going to kill me. They're not going to murder my family, and that's just that. Now, 9 times out of 10, people would normally just hate on LGBTQ people, people would hate on gay people would hate on lesbian people, trans people, and in my case, I'm like, why? Why? What have they done? Why? There's something wrong, why? And that kind of throws me off. That kind of just throws me off, because I'm like, in today's society, it's all about acceptance, and for who people are, and good things like that. But you know, that's just how it is. But onward with the topic, with the Jupiter Iratus thing, along with the Levethan. As I said, 98% of the Star Trek Online community is mostly full of senile bastards, and they are so old that I'm pretty much sure most of them are in their 60s, and some of them are in their 40s, and that's a not out for me. Because, I mean, sure, I'll play this game now, the fact that I'm 60 years old, but at the same time, 60 years old, dude, you should be doing something else. I mean, if you're a gamer, then, I mean, nothing's gonna stop you. Like, seriously, nothing. Nothing's gonna stop you. But if you don't actually, like, you know, grab some glasses and... Man, I have very powerful impulse engines. But if you don't really stop and try to at least think... For example, for a second, or even not even that, open your eyes and see what, and see what, damn it, stop it. There we go. And see what, you know, the instructions. It'll be much faster, it'll be much better, and it'll be taking up less time than it should. At this point, like, I believe I have done 2 TFOs of the Azure Rescue, which is another part of the event where you can complete to get one of the to complete the set, and I'm almost done. So of course there'll be another video in a bit. But of course, Azure Lane Rescue, that is another TFO that you can do. Of course, it's going to take at least up to 8 minutes, at least up to 10 to 5 minutes. Well, no, actually that's a lie. That's just going to take up to 10 minutes. But in a sense of a way, it's more of you just standing there in AFK at the base, just shooting down Tholians and rescuing ships. That's all good and dandy. I mean, I kind of learned that when I'm like, dude, I'm out here running around, and when I can just sit there and just shoot Tholians and just work on my side. That kind of gives everybody else a breather, but they still come around and say, hey, you look like you need help. You know, that same mentality that they give in like 30 other TFOs that we have. Which is why I'm going to stop doing TFOs from now on. I'm actually just going to start, like, I don't even think playing this game is kind of like optional anymore, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, I don't think I'm gonna be able to. I don't think I want to do TFOs anymore because it sucks. And people don't really understand. And until people actually get their get their head out of the gutter and actually, you know, do something for a change, then yeah, probably I'll get back to that. But at the same time, there's nothing else. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do aside from just face palm my head until the point where I just become brain dead. Now, the next part we're going to talk about is Jupiter Iratus, which is probably, in my case, probably the most hated TFO in my existence. And I think it is now second to the, of course, the first one is Levethan, because people are so slow. Like, dude, divert your power to impulse and just put your foot on the gas and just go. Because at this point of damaging even a slightest of a Terran ship, that means you're weak as hell. And that means you need to go. Because at this point, you need to go ahead and you need to go. You need to go to ESD or whatever. Go fix your gear and all that good stuff. That's all I gotta say. Now, Jupiter Iratus is probably, and it was on my top 10 most hated TFOs. Second being Borg Disconnected, because nobody knows what the hell they're doing. I mean, half the player base, I mean, at least 80% of the player base knows what they're doing. I mean, and at least 20% are just clueless, stupid idiots. Now, Jupiter Iratus is probably my most hated TFO ever, still is, and pretty much, I think, just those two, in general, I don't like them. And here's why. So, the reason why, of course, Jupiter Iratus is the, I think it's a TFO from the, I think it's the Shadows Advance season, which is probably, I think it's the second part of the Terran storyline, of the Terran War, which, of course, the Terrans are making surgical strikes on numbers of key worlds, and that's not good for the Federation, because, you know, it pretty much just means like, yo, they're up to something, and it is not good. And anything they're up to at this point is not good. Like, it's pretty much depicted as, dude, that's pretty bad. Like, very, very bad. So, yeah, the defenses of Jupiter Station were pretty screwed in the end, and yeah, that's pretty the scrutiny for a research station. I mean, in itself, it's the most beautiful station out there. Like, you have no idea how beautiful this thing is. This beautiful box of joy. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is, the TFO itself is probably the worst. And as I said, I have explained the instructions to you, which, you know, defend station, defend generators, close portals, everyone's happy. Everyone goes home for tea, till he stops you from doing that, and, you know, you pretty much kick your ass, and then after that, yeah, everybody goes home for tea. Even Janeway. Well, she prefers coffee, but I think she'll try to lighten the mood by trying to switch it up a bit. But it's the fact that people don't really get it. In my case, people don't understand how the TFO works, and despite it still being a few months after, even almost during the conclusion, where, you know, Emperor Wesley emerges with the other, which is the Mirror Vager, and, you know, I'm going to destroy the first and only thing, and that's that ugly reflection of my world, and I am going to digitize it, and everything is going to reset. Basically, Ace Combat Zero's version of Star Trek Online. So, you know, he's going to reset everything. He's going to pretty much fire a intercontinental ballistic bolt and kill everybody. Everybody's happy. Kinda. The end. You know, he came here slowly than he should, which, I mean, yeah, he took his time. I don't blame him. But, you know, even after the conclusion of the Terran story arc, it's still, I mean, I got sick of the Mirror Universe. I mean, I was ready for something else. Because at this point, I'm like, dude, I am so ready for something else. I am so tired of fighting, which is why I'm mostly on Ryzen today. But, nonetheless, Jupiter Iratus is my hated, and the reason why is because of the teamwork, and that's what it lacks. It lacks the teamwork. It lacks the people to actually try to do the teamwork. It just simply just lacks teamwork, and it just sucks. Like, dude, there's somebody out here just like defending as well, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, if Century mode, like, I believe Century mode, sorry, Century mode is pretty much the definition of pure laziness. It has no activation timer, no timer when it cools down. It turns off when you want it to turn off. Except that doesn't do that, which is why I have this in case of a failsafe, which every time I use Sentry mode, it's a failsafe. So it's a glitch that they won't fix until I get the Valkyries, and I'll be able to get rid of this and replace it with something more powerful, probably with Protomatter or whatever. Anyways, long story short, I don't like it, and the fact that people actually say like Sentry mode is not good, but at the same time it is. Sentry mode is a definition of pure laziness, and most people just try to get the new ships, and that's kind of the wacky thing. Get new ships, I mean, new lockpick ship or whatever, but you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I bought Sentry mode specifically for this build, and I got it, which is a good thing. It's a whopping $200 lockbox ship, guaranteed, and right out the market, and right out of my ass. So that's kudos. So the next thing I'm probably even going to talk about is the fact that this thing is just TFO is just the fact that it lacks so much teamwork. I think I went AFK and the whole TFO burned. Like, I believe I went AFK. At this point, I'm like, dude, nobody's getting it, nobody's doing anything, and it just made me mad. So I left. Not even left. I believe I have just disabled Sentry mode. I did not have it at the time. I was just in the middle. I was defending the station and stuff, and I just left it to die. I left it to die, and I sat out, and every 5 minutes I would watch it. And you know, I mean, every 30 seconds I would watch it, and within those every 30 seconds, it just burned. It just all burned. Everything just went up in flames. People are just scrambling, wondering where the frick did I go? Not even where did I go. They're just wondering what the hell is going on. What do we do? And no one understood. And I believe what actually threw me off. I mean, look, when it comes to LGBTQ, I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't care. Trust me. It's not even a problem. Like, I believe I'm dating someone who is transgender, and her name is Apollo. I call her Apollo because I'm not going to show you her real name, but her name is Apollo. And she is pretty much the most beautiful woman I've ever met. Like, trust me. But I believe it has nothing to do with the transgender thing, but at the same time, it is two lesbians, and you know, they were just, I mean, sure, I have no problem with lesbians. I have no problem with couples. I have no problem with friends playing TFOs, and you know, those two guys who keep going AFK, I found a way to even beat them at their own game, because one, I'm playing a universe class, and two, I have powerful weaponry, and three, I can literally carry every TFO by myself. If you have been playing this game for 6 years. But anyways, back to my little story. So of course, these two lesbians, I mean, sure, I mean, they learn over time, but at the time when this stuff was going on, they were brain dead. They were so brain dead, and they kept getting destroyed. And I'm just like, this ain't working. This ain't working, man. And even then we have 5 people. One is AFK, which is myself, because I am watching the whole TFO burn. 2 are destroyed, which leaves 2 more people to get it right. 2 more. You know what they did? I mean, sure, they kept firing their weapons at every single thing that they could, but they were taking a bad punishment, the worst punishment they could give them. In my case, it's terrible, and I mean, kind of almost felt bad for them, but I don't, because I expect them, out of all people, those 2 people. I mean, I understand those 2 lesbians girls. They're women, and I feel like they were dared to do this, to play at all. So I'm like, yeah, this game ain't for you. Go back to painting your nails and your toes, buddy. But as for those other 2, I am kind of disappointed, because you own powerful ships in the game and you don't know what you're doing. That's something that we need to even have a talk about, because that's bad. That's pretty bad. And in my case, that's not good. So in my case, in the end, I don't think that I believe Jupiter Iratus is added to the TFOs, to the randomized TFOs. But as far as anything else, yeah, I think those are new. But anyways, as far as like TFOs go, those TFOs should not be in the randoms. And when I say they should not, like, dude, these TFOs are the worst of the worst. And the worst thing is, Levethan is going to be the next randomized TFO. And that in itself is not good. It's not good for anyone. It's not good for me. It's not good for anyone. It's not good for Doug. It's not good for Stu 1701. It's not good for anyone who has a full brain capacity and not half of a brain of a dumbbell, and not even the fact that they're not as dumb as a koala. I mean, it's common sense, and I feel like it's really more common sense. But people don't do that. People don't do that, and people don't even practice common sense. Like, I'm even mad at the world today because the fact that they're looking at gays, trans, and all these other people, and they're hating on them, and I'm like, are you dumb? What have they done to you? What have they ever done to you? They're loving who they are. They're being who they want to be, and you hate them for it? That's racist. That's racist. And the same depiction there is the same depiction here. And I'm not talking about racism. I'm talking about dude, it's just dumb. And I just come to that fact that humanity is dumb. Like, humanity is kind of dumb in its own way, and I don't understand. But I believe that is it for the rant today, guys. If you guys want to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification. Yeah, this TFO, I don't like it. I don't like it. I try to avoid it, but at the same time, that's what Sentry Mode is for. I pretty much do my job, so that way I don't get AFK'd and I don't get RTKO'd out of the queues, because, you know, that kind of makes me sad, and, you know, I don't want to be kicked out of TFOs because all I did was just sat there and laze around and, you know, all the other stuff. So I believe I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.